Welcome back, noble heroes. We return back to another session of Mythia. In this session, we find our characters in the city of Bridgewalk, a place of acceptance that is under a terrorist threat of the Sorcerer Pit, a necromancer and terrifying fated wizard who is able to take control of the minds of his victims through his fate. Although, apparently, it has more power than just that. We left off with Euphemia having a bold and daring attack on the pirate lord Marjorie the Decapitator Brimson, which I most certainly thought she would die. And she somehow stole a victory from certain jaws of defeat, thanks to a sudden appearance of Potjack, the ogre mercenary. Potjack came in and helped her smash them all up, and wound up killing Marjorie, even as they escaped with Jania, who was unconscious, to an upper bridge of Bridgewalk, away from the pirates' scum down below. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Roland and Bali entered a marketplace, where the ancient king, King Coldmane, long dead for many years, has apparently returned and entered the Bridgewalk marketplace to seek vengeance on the man who he thinks killed him, Roland Tarkan. That was when Roland was but a teenager. He was forced by mind control by the Sorcerer Pit before all of his fate had kicked in, thanks to his late puberty, part of his fate didn't kick in till puberty, and as such, he was vulnerable to mind control for a period of time in his youth, which he is no longer. He is actually one of the few people who is immune to Pit's mind control. And we want to go ahead and say, please, noble heroes, give us a like and a subscribe. And please, comment below. Tell us what you think about this episode. We would really like to hear it, and I will check out all the comments that you post down below. And do try this at home. We're going to go ahead and begin with a viewpoint not in Bridgewalk at all, but well across the world in a totally different place. Zio walked casually, hearing the many clops of hooves around him. His surroundings were decadent, and he wore a tailored suit with carefully chosen cufflinks. The symbol on the cufflinks was a shared sign of tiefling superiority and ingenuity, the mark of freedom. Its meaning and significance had been noted many times already that night, and Zio was glad he had chosen them. He was bespoke, except for his wild mop of hair that almost covered his right eye, and the healing bite mark on his cheek. He easily swiped a shrimp puff from a passing waiter and placed it between his fangs, savoring the flavor. His tail swiped calmly as he saw his target, an aging lord who was surrounded by his friends. He approached. "Ah, this is that fellow I was telling you about, the one who tripled the Venzer shipment's value and introduced me to Abner." Zio smiled, as one of the patrons introduced him. His earlier work had all been in service of this moment. A glass of the finest whiskey was given to him, and he sipped among the chatting nobility, waiting through the hours as they fell away one by one, stumbling drunkenly out of the party and back to their mansions. Finally, the last fellow stood and shook his hand. "You really are a miracle worker, boy. Who knew the docks offered so much new prospect?" Zio smiled cunningly. "When you know how to herd the flock, you can shear the sheep. When you know how to herd the flock, you can shear the sheep," he responded. The noble was impressed. "I've got to remember that one. Ha!" He grabbed what was left of the bottle and wobbled away. The lights were low now, and Zio leaned forward after a moment to address his target, but he was cut off. "So, you've finally waited out the others. Are you ready to talk?" Zio hesitated only for a moment. This man was more perceptive than he had first thought. He decided to speak plainly. "You know who I work for?" Zio asked. "I do. We can help you with your pest problem." And how do I know I can trust you and your people? The man spoke from the shadows, cigar smoke rolling from his mouth. Zio paused. I know your son, Isaac. We worked together. Zio's face remained blank, but he delighted as he saw the interest shift. You know Isaac? What was the manner of this relationship? Are you friends? Jacob asked. Oh, no, sir. It was nothing personal. Just business. As you all can surely see at this point, Julian, our friend, has been ensconced in his own home. I am going to leave it to your wild imaginings to figure out why. It's nothing serious. And we begin in a marketplace, surrounded by fleeing people who have just seen the crowd eviscerated by a disintegration blast from the finger of a long dead man. A white, bearded man, thick with muscle, although there is a bit of fat to the front of him, enough to make his shirt need to be an extra size larger. He isn't garbed in the royal finery that you previously remember him seeing, much more a common man's clothes. Although there is some button-up to his appearance. At the moment, however, his eyes are dark with hatred as he looks towards you. And as the disintegration runs through the crowd, you see a heaviness to the movement, like it was difficult to do. Bali, now fleeing into the crowd with a quickness which belies, which is exactly what you would think for her small size. She immediately leaps behind a rock wall and disappears from your sightline as the screams of the surrounding people fleeing in terror from King Coldmane and his magic. The marketplace becomes wild and chaotic, and a person pushes into you heavily as the crowd threatens to stampede. You see above you the small dot of 3 Drake Guard in the distance coming towards this location. But the eyes of the man are focused specifically on you as his fingers begin to weave towards another spell. What does Roland do?
Roland throws off his cloak, pulls his shield around, pulls his sword. And is there an area that's starting to clear out at all?
Everywhere around Coldmane, like an explosion, the people are blasting in every direction away from him that they can. Many of them towards you, creating a wave that you're going to have to push through to get to him. It'll take you at least 2 full movements to reach him.
Well, what he would try to do is, if there's, depending on where he is and where Coldmane is and everyone's, if there's a way that he can, like, circumvent through the crowd.
There is not.
Rather than pushing straight into people to...
You mean like going diagonally?
To catch, in between people as... Because, I mean, if everyone's moving away, there's going to be lines where he can try to get to the clearest area that'll be clear by the time. He's trying to get as few people between him and Coldmane by the time this happens again.
Make a disadvantage perception check.
He knows pushing straight into people who are running at you is not going to be the best way to get people out of the way. You say disadvantage perception?
Yes.
17.
That's disadvantaged?
It was 16.
16. All right. As you sweep the crowd, your head moving from right to left, you see a small opening. And as you move towards that opening, you're additionally going to watch as the king is going to pool a green magic from his hand And as he holds up his arm, he's going to hold his hand out towards you, and you will see a blast of Arctic frigid cold waft out over the crowd in a great cone, extremely long, up to 60 feet. And as the blast goes to hit you, he is going to... What did I do with my stupid thing? Oh, Sarah has it.
Yes, sorry, I was trying to get back. Is this why he's called Cold Man? He brings cold.
Did I ever know Coldmane to be...
No.
Yeah, I was going to say no.
Oh, okay.
He's kind of a douche.
All right. You need to make a Constitution saving throw. DC 17, please, sir. As the cone of cold blasts out over you.
Oh, this sucks. Nope.
Nope.
9.
All right. All right. As the chill shoots out towards you, you take 5 points of damage.
Okay.
It shoots over the crowd, and you're going to see people freeze into ice blocks around you as it does. You witness them frozen in moments of terror, their hands reaching towards the exit of the cone.
Okay.
Coldmane is going to look towards you as you come forward. You see excitement in his eyes, anticipation, as you approach him. Do you charge the rest of the way?
Yeah.
As you have your sword, the shield guard, and the sword of Lord Jerem in hand, your grieved feet beat a quick path towards the king, and you stand directly in front of him as he makes no move to dodge.
I'm gonna attack him.
Roll an attack roll.
I'm gonna go for his legs.
You have advantage.
$26.
You will hit. Please roll damage, sir. You are solo.
Yep. I'm gonna swing at one of his legs also.
All right. The other chooses not to swing at his legs. He swings at the head.
Well, that's cool. I'd like to ask him a question, but never mind.
Please roll a d20, sir, as you enter single combat.
Okay.
No.
9.
9?
I don't like the tone. I love it. I don't like that.
As you rush towards him, you pull up your hand and you suddenly feel an other enter you. And then you feel the other one enter you.
The one who's a goofball?
As both of the others enter you, your mind becomes a horrible complex of 3 minds. As soon as that happens, you feel something like a nuclear explosion go off in your head. Both of the others are blasted away from the front cortex of your mind, as they are no longer in single combat.
So I'm making the hit?
You are.
And I'm not.
Excuse me, make a DC 20 con save to see if you can attack at all, sir.
Great. Did you say DC 17?
20.
20? Damn, 19.
19! Oh!
You know, my con is only 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Thanks.
You don't have a con save. Okay.
I think you're swinging a little above my weight class right now, bro.
I'm not swinging above anything.
You
As you hold up your blade to strike, you are suddenly struck with immense pain as 2 others enter your mind. The only thing that you have as a thought is confusion from what you just called the goofball other, and anger from the other one. As you grasp your head, blinded heavily by pain, unable to attack, you will see nothing, in fact. But then you do hear something. Sorry to butt in. As the figure before you turns around, his hand reaches down to pull out a wand and points it towards a cloaked figure that has rushed out of the crowd just now. That cloaked figure is going to whip a rapier out at light speed and stabs his thumb and his index finger specifically, and with a swoop of the end of the rapier, disarms the wand from the figure. And then proceeds to stab him immediately in the collarbone, dropping him where he stands. You recover from your pain, and as you look up, you see plaited raven hair. Western Fae stands before you, a hero of Giran. Her rapier has a small bit of blood on the end, and she looks down at the figure below you, who has changed. No longer do you see the face of King Coldmane, but instead an unknown pale man, rake thin like a wizard, with long fingers. And you see that his outfit matches what King Coldmane was wearing, although it is awkwardly sized.
So I'm going to assume like this amount of massive migraine pain probably put Roland on like his knee.
No, you were able to stand up with a 19. You are still on your feet.
Okay. God, that sucked. I hate that I have to talk to her right now.
Are you all right?
I dropped my cloak over there. Will you go grab it for me real quick?
I'm not your messenger.
Okay, I'll pick him up and I'll go get my cloak then. He's going to pick this dude up and throw him over his shoulder and then...
You see her eyes like sort of full of outrage. She goes, thanks for the distraction.
He straight ignores her and he moves over to his cloak. Is everybody still fleeing away?
Yes, the market is emptied.
Okay, he's gonna...
As you turn around with the body in hand, you are going to see nothing behind you. Not a single body. Save one.
Wait, the dead guy's not there anymore?
What dead guys?
The wizard.
There's no statues of ice, and there's no disintegrated people.
Wait, but the dude she put down is still there, right?
He is, yes. You're going to watch as the single body who is behind you is going to stand up. You see Western's eyes lock onto the target. What in the pits? She says. You'll see a cunning, violet-skinned smile beneath the large, encumbering robes of the figure. And then he's gone.
Figured.
Western's going to... What in the pits was that?
Just follow me.
All right, fine. Actually, you should follow me, she says.
Okay. He was going to walk over and reach down and snatch his cloak while still holding this guy.
Hold still. I want to check his pulse, she says. What's wrong with you today? She says as she places her fingers on his throat. She says, barely, but there is one. Good. I figured there might be some trickery with this.
Where are you staying?
The Adamantine Fortress, of course. Speaking of which, I didn't know you were in town. You should have looked me up.
I didn't know you were here either.
Dear. She's going to put her hand on the back of your forehead. Why are you so frazzled? You're sweating.
I'll explain in a second.
It's been a second.
He's just going to start walking.
You see that she is wearing Giran-style finery. She has a thick scarf of silk around her neck and a fine half cape off one shoulder. She is wearing silken trousers and has on a fur-lined coat, like a vest, with a couple of imprinted buttons of beautiful brass on them. She sort of flicks the blood off the end of her rapier and slides it into a long leather sheath. She goes, I don't usually say this, Roland, but you do look terrible today.
Thanks.
Where's Shadow?
I'll explain when we get wherever you're staying.
Where's Leslie?
Back in Garen,
Oh.
I think.
Delightful. She grabs your arm. She says, so I assume you knew about Pitt before you came. Were you called as well by Queen Estrid?
Not exactly, but kinda.
Kind of. You always speak so eloquently, she says. So, where did you leave your dragon? She would have been helpful in going after that scoundrel.
Okay, he's gonna cut down an alleyway.
This is the wrong way, she says.
And he's gonna lay the guy down on like a crate or a barrel or whatever might be sitting in an alleyway.
Oh yes, good idea. Use your paladin powers.
I don't want to bring this guy back if he's still under whatever just happened. What just happened to you?
What do you mean,
What did you see?
I saw an old man casting spells at you. Why? What did you see?
Did you not see anyone get vaporized?
I saw him cast spells towards you, and you seemed in pain.
You didn't see anyone get frozen.
Frozen? No.
I just saw different things than you saw.
Roland, illusions, dear.
Yeah.
He cast illusions on you. It's simple. He probably wanted you to kill this man.
He made him look like Coldman.
What a jerk. Well, we shall kill him soon. Don't worry. You and I are working together now, she says. Speaking of which, there's a lovely dragon at the Adamantine Fortress I want to introduce you to.
So no one else died?
I think Pitt was tricking you. I think he was in the crowd, she says. It was all illusions, dear. Nobody died except maybe this man if you don't lay your hands on him. Roland.
Okay, he's gonna touch him and bring him back.
All right, how many points do you spend from your lay on hands pool? I believe you have 5 times your level. And each one restores a hit point.
It's over here. Full healing power. I've only done this like once.
Yes.
Because someone never lets me.
It is melee range, but it's very powerful.
Every time I try to do this, someone does something before I get there.
Well, you're slow and on the other side of the battlefield.
Uh-huh.
Just a little power, love. He doesn't need too much.
He's just going to bring him back to the point where he can talk and walk.
All right, so 10 points?
Yeah.
All right. As you spend 10 hit points from your power, your hands are going to shine with the light of heaven that you channel from the sun. As that light touches the man, you're going to see the wound close, but not totally heal. And the man is going to open his eyes and cough. He starts. Roland, talking?
Okay,
He says.
You know my name. Do you know your name?
He says, Yes. Where am I?
You've been mind controlled.
Oh dear, he says.
What's the last thing you remember?
My family, he says, and he immediately gets up. Western watches the man try to run away down the alleyway. Well, he's in an awful hurry. He appears to be free. Well done. She kind of slaps you on the side of the head. Come on, let's go. This dragon, I've got to tell you about them. Absolutely beautiful. Very lovely. You'll love its colors. It's like Shadow, but much larger and grander. Maybe a little better, she says.
Out of game. So, me and Western have a history, don't we?
You all have often been forced, in some cases, but have chosen to work together a few times. Western can be overbearing and judgmental, as well as petty and gravely angered by failure.
I just wasn't sure if we ever decided if there was something there at one
She
point.
certainly liked there to be.
Okay. I couldn't remember if there was actually something or if it's always been like this.
It has always been like this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she was born in Selenox as a noble.
I guess I'm gonna follow this really annoying person back to her.
So what are you doing in Bridgewalk? It's quite off away from Garen. I didn't hear anything from the kings.
I'll explain when we get back to your place.
Oh, we have a walk, dear. Just explain now. You're always so mysterious.
Tell me what you know of what's going on here.
Well, Queen Estrid sent a personalized note to me. Very beautiful. Wonderful cursive. And she was speaking about them being under attack by the Sorcerer Pit. So she called on all of the best heroes. That explains why we're here. And here I am. We've been riding around with the Drake Guard now for a couple of days looking for something. And as soon as I saw the people running away from the marketplace, I knew there must be something happening. So I swooped down and came on over. Those damn drakes are hard to ride, she says. That one that they gave me is uncontrollable. A real beast.
I'm sure it's its fault.
Although, maybe it was my heels, she says.
So you don't know any valuable intel? What's going on, even though you've been here for a minute? Yet somehow Pitt found me on my first day.
I'm sorry. I was taking you to the valuable intel. I thought you said that you didn't want to speak on the walk.
Fair enough.
She looks upset. She has a purse to her lower lip as you head off in the direction of the Adamantine Fortress together. Well, master, that bar looks good, Prongor says as he turns towards Isaac and points towards a seedy-looking bar on a lower bridge.
Okay, so what does the building look like that he's referencing to?
It is a tavern called the Lower Ten Quarters, and it has a tankard on it, and there's a few patrons smoking outside the joint. It's not huge for a bar, but it does have the look of a place where you might be able to gain some information with advantage, if you know what I mean.
Okay. I look over and I ask Prongor, now, we're not wanting to draw any attention if possible. Do you have your gloves on today?
He says...
The idea being that we're covering up his prosthetics.
He goes, yes, master. He's going to shrug a leather jacket over his arms. The tough leather is going to give a similar appearance to both of the hands and arm.
Okay.
He goes, where do we go
Picturing
then, master?
Prongor in a leather jacket.
Where do we go then, master?
Well, let's dive right in and find a seat and see what happens.
All right. As the two of you enter the bar, you begin a old process of slowly maneuvering yourself into place to ask questions without seeming suspicious. I would like Isaac to give me a... it is going to be a persuasion check, please, sir. And you have an advantage, because these is a CD joint.
Okay. Persuasion... 24.
Wow. All right. You are able to learn many things about what's been happening in the city. The first is that Pitt has been a constant on everybody's mind in Bridgewalk. But the people here in Bridgewalk believe in Queen Estrid, and she has promised a steady and powerful approach to dealing with Pitt. The populace believes in their ruler, that she will defeat the sorcerer, and trust her and the government to do its best, which is probably something Isaac might remember is fairly unique to Bridgewalk. The messengers, when they stopped taking the mail, the city itself seemed to be causing them to become sick, and that has the people extremely worried about economic chaos. As well as their isolation from the rest of the world, of which there has never been such a level of here in the city. With an off-duty guard who is quite gruff, you will learn that Pitt has attacked the Bank of Bridgewalk and made off with all of the money contained within. But yesterday, the locals learned how severe the attack was during a speech. They were asked by the Queen to wait on any purchase that required their bank money, and that they would be put into a queue to receive a stipend from the government. Until all the money, nearly 100 million gold pieces worth of coins and treasure, was returned back to the bank. If everybody made a run on the bank, Bridgewalk's economy would have collapsed. But because of the population's trust in their queen to get back the money, it has so far remained a tottering stability. There is a forthcoming wizard near the back of the bar who is a little drunk and appears willing to talk about some more difficult, secretive knowledge. He reveals that while Pitt mind-controlled several guards to help him rob the Bank of Bridgewalk, which is called the Bob, lovingly by the people, he threw those guards off a high bridge after he robbed the bank, but none of them died. They're actually recovering in hospital right now. And he is going to tell you that the leader of the guards, a dragon named Ferric, is normally a very powerful asset to the city. But he has been forced to stay in the adamantine fortress because of the fear that Pitt could dominate his mind. And that he could become a huge threat to the city. He can only return to active duty once Pitt is dead.
Who was it that you said is staying within the fortress?
The dragon Ferric.
Okay.
He is the captain of the
How do you
guard.
spell his name?
Ferrik. And then, over the course of maybe 10 more people, you will uncover smaller rumors that are not being talked about very much because of the overlooming threat of Pitt. Large magical symbols have been discovered in strange, out-of-the-way places, like in the connection area of many alleyways. They are incomplete, but there are dozens of them, and the authorities keep finding more of them. While the symbol is some sort of arcantic, it appears to be a made-up word, and they're asking anyone with information about the word to come forward. the woman who you're speaking to is going to dig out a little piece of paper, and she hands over the design of the symbol on the paper to you. Know anything about it? She says.
So on this paper is the design of the arcantic symbols people are finding?
It is the same symbol every time. But yes, she is going to hand over the arcantic symbol on a piece of crumpled notepaper. You may roll a DC 27 Arcana check to figure out anything about it.
Holy moly. Let me see if I can even make that.
What was it?
All right.
27.
I'm going to roll and see if I crit. That's the only way I can get it.
Good luck.
Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to, I've got a better idea. I'm going to ask the woman if I can keep the scrap of paper, and then later on I'm going to ask Asher to take a look at it for me.
Okay. Yes, I've got plenty of them. I'm handing them out to anyone who will listen, she says. Anyone with knowledge of the wizardry world. So you have that
Very
paper?
Very gracious of you. Thank you. Okay.
As you guys head out of the third bar that you have visited with some more information, seems as though we have uncovered quite a bit of information now, Master, Prongor says. It was because of your devilish wiles that we were able to gain so much in the first place.
It's been a while since we've done some digging like this, but it seems like we haven't lost it quite yet. You weren't too bad yourself in there.
Oh, well, thank you, Master.
Although I must say, the people in this town are very talkative. That was more than I've ever gathered in any other village or city.
I think that they are foolishly trusting of authority, Master. And you are an authoritative figure who can gain the control of anybody who is so simple-minded.
It's his cell phone.
Isaac will say, did you see the reverence that they held for their queen? That's not something I've ever seen before in a city this size. Usually in these kinds of bars, they hate their leadership.
Well, perhaps if Lady Nothing ever came out of her noble household, people would hold some reverence for her. But as she is completely enigmatic in the world, I do not think that it is something we deal with in Salanox.
I suppose not. Here, let us step aside for a moment. I want to examine this rune that woman gave us.
As you step aside, Prongor is suddenly going to point and say, Master, look there. Look at that man, he says. You're going to see an extremely odd fellow walking on an adjacent bridge, which connects very quickly to yours. As you view this man, you see that he is a pale, hefty, what looks to be a nobleman, with a very strange duck walking adjacent to him. The duck has on a tiny bowler hat.
Like a quack quack duck?
Yes, like a quack quack duck. Correct.
Just checking.
He has on a little bowler hat, and a tiny chest is harnessed to its back. The man himself has a wizarding arcanic book, which he has out in front of him, and it has a gilded sigil of a duck upon the book cover. He has potions and alchemic formulas on his person, and is wearing a very dapper purple vest with a wide-brimmed wizard hat on. And you will see this fellow looks rather, you would say, dastardly. And you're going to see as he sort of like wafts up behind a woman, and a mage hand is going to lift her skirt up so that he can view her knackers underneath. And you see him like twiddle his fingers together And the woman is going to like, and she like throws her skirt down and turns around and stomps away from him. He goes, "That is the second woman he is Ghostmaster. This is wonderful."
Of course he thinks it is.
This sounds like something that would stand out even in Bridgewalk, where there are crazy things everywhere.
Indeed. Prongor is going to turn towards you and say, "Master, compared to this man, we will look like incredible heroes. He is a perfect villain. What a great time to show our new heroic streak. We will stop this gooser," he says, "and the people will cheer us."
Prongor, are you suggesting we confront this man in broad daylight and bring him to justice?
He says, "Exactly, Master. That is what I'm suggesting." You're going to see prestidigitation causes a breeze to attempt the same thing on another woman who is standing over a sewer grate.
Oh my god. Why is this the scenario I get stuck in?
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm so glad.
What, you didn't want to deal with the wandering perv?
I don't know, that would have been fun.
Yeah, you would have castrated him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What does Isaac say or do?
Isaac's going to look at the man, then to Prongor, then to the piece of paper in his hands, and then just let out a massive sigh and fold it up and put it back into his robes.
Okay.
Just at a glance, can I try and evaluate like how actually strong this person may be? With, like, insight?
He looks awful, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Although I dare say, it's more like a goose than a duck.
You back off. All right. It's a
You
goose
could
duck.
fight this guy.
It's literally a goose duck.
A goose duck.
Oh, a goose duck. I like
And
it.
he's goosing people? He's the
He's
gooser?
goosing people.
He's the
That's correct.
gooser.
He's the gooser.
The
That is
gooser.
his new name, the gooser.
The gooser.
Yeah, all right. As you put the crumpled notebook paper away, what do you do?
Could he see it if we hold it up there?
I want to use insight to try and size
The
this
brightness would
person
have
up.
to be up.
We'll text it to you later.
Like, evaluate how dangerous they are.
Okay. You are looking at a probably out of shape, mid-30s, noble-born, soft wizard who believes that he is, because of his magical capabilities, likely able to perform dastardly deeds on the populace with abandon, while the guards are busy with a real threat.
How tall is this guy?
Okay.
He
So I
is
recognize that he's nobility.
5'3".
He's like a younger Danny DeVito. He looks like a young Danny DeVito. Like twins era Danny DeVito.
Oh my god. This is Sarah Jenny DeVito. That is kind of what he looks like now.
So I asked how tall he was. So like, the guy looks short.
Okay. I know what I'm going to do, but give me a second to read like one or two spells.
All right,
Make sure I
sure.
have this right.
Yeah. All right, so do you approach the man?
Okay. Yeah, I do. I'm going to... Isaac's gonna like pull back his hood and compose himself and look as much as he can like a normal person and not a undercover hero trying to gather information, you know.
All right.
I'm gonna walk up to this guy.
As you take the junction on the bridge to head towards the man, you're going to see him sort of curl his face into a smile as he spots a group of teenage girls walking nearby on another bridge. And you're going to hear what almost sounds like a quacking laugh from the duck that appears to be his wizard familiar. As you approach within about 15 feet of the man, he's going to turn towards you, and he gives you a sort of sly, hesitant smile. Good day, sir, he says.
Why, hello there. You seem to be having quite the time today.
You appear to be a man of finery, he says. Do you know any good, clothing shops about here?
Do I feel like he's making a slight against my appearance?
No, you feel like maybe he's looking for a place where people might change their clothes.
All right. Isaac's going to cut to the chase. He's going to reach out and pat the guy on the shoulder and say, "Listen, I see what you've been doing, and I think a better course of action would be in it."
As you put your hand out, he's going to look over towards it, and he sort of sneers at your hand on him, and he's going to try to brush you away.
Okay.
He goes, "Don't rip the shirt, my friend."
I'm gonna take my fingers and just grab on tighter, and then I'm gonna finish my sentence to him. And then Isaac's going to say, "I think you should go apologize to those women, and while you're at it, maybe compensate them for what you've done. 1,000 gold each should do." And as he's saying this, he's going to cast suggestion on the guy to make him follow this course of action.
As you cast the suggestion spell on him,
and can I spend an inspiration to give him disadvantage?
I'm not going to allow you to do that.
Okay, that's fine.
Instead, when you cast the suggestion spell upon him, you are going to find that this man has no mind.
Oh. That's not good.
Excuse me?
He is going to brush you back from him as you cast the spell on him, and he is going to cast Hold Person on you. He's going to draw up a little green wand, and he points it towards you and says, "How dare you?" And he's going to cast Hold Person. Please make a DC 13 save against Hold Person. I believe it's Dex, but I'm not 100%. Give me a sec.
Wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom, yeah. You got the fast internet.
That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good at all. Especially considering what just happened.
So, can you elaborate on what you meant when I said that I realized he had no mind?
Yes, this man has no brain. Therefore, he cannot have suggestion work on him.
And I could just feel that when trying to cast the spell on him?
Yes, there was an empty void there.
All right, okay.
All right.
Sorry, I had to pull up my saving throws. Okay. I rolled a 22.
All right, as he casts the spell on you with his hand kind of tilted downwards towards you, a bit like Voldemort casts, he's going to say, "Hold Person!" In a very unwizard-like manner. And as he does, the spell beam is going to hit you, and it will actually, you just kind of break your arms away from the spell and shatter the spell stuff away from you. He goes, "Oh, this a duel it will be then." His loud call has clearly gained the attention of those on surrounding bridges who are like whispering to each other and like on watching. You probably have a good 40 people watching you at this point. Prongor is going to step forward.
Okay.
Prongor goes, "You are a gooser, sir." He says, "I am Lord Duckingham the Fifth. And you, sir, are a pathetic, gross tiefling."
Wow, okay. A duel it is, then. Well, then how about this? If I win, you stop harassing women for as long as I'm in this city. And if you win, I won't kill you.
He is a little too brave of himself. He's going to say, "Of course I'm not going to accept such a ludicrous deal," he says. "It is very one-sided."
In that case, and then Isaac will point out his staff, "Hold person." And then he's going to cast it himself at the guy.
All right.
Please don't fail.
He is going to freeze in the hold person as the spell bonds him. Prongo goes, "Right, master, you got him!" Lord Duckingham is going to be like frozen in this ridiculous pose. And you see people around you sort of like nod to themselves and they sort of like clap a little bit. As that happens, you are going to see the duck adjacent to him sort of like angrily waddle in your direction. And then it's going to go, quack, 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 quack. And a giant blast of magical force is going to echo forth from the duck's mouth, trying to blast you off the bridge. Please roll a dexterity saving throw. DC 18.
Okay. I'll use my inspiration on this. You said 18?
Yes.
Okay. I rolled a 17, and then on my second roll I crit, so I got a 22.
Awesome. So Prongor is going to be hit by the blast wave and thrown off the bridge unceremonially by the duck.
No.
No, that's not what I wanted.
So you are going to dodge to the side, and the blast wave will hit you, but break the bridge that you are on, that is made out of sort of like a big rope bridge. And the side of the bridge is going to like fall downwards, so that all of you are going to either hang on or be swept into the river below. Please roll an athletics check, sir, to hang onto the bridge, or you can fall.
So I'm assuming we're on a relatively low bridge as far as Bridgewalk is concerned if we're at risk of falling into the river.
Correct. You are on one of the lowest bridges, in
Okay.
fact.
God, what is this? All right. As the bridge is falling, and I am falling with it, can I try and like visually spot where Prongor is midair?
Yes, Prongor has splashed into the water below. He's fallen about 25 feet, and it looks like the river is not fast moving at this point. He should be fine.
Okay. How many other people are on this bridge?
As you were dueling, nobody.
Okay, so just me, the guy, and the duck.
Yes. You could also, if you didn't want to roll athletics, you could also levitate using the engine.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm gonna let myself fall until I'm at like the bottom rung of the bridge, and then levitate, and then grab onto it.
All right. As you flip over yourself, you are going to place your hands out, and the gemstone in the center of your chest will begin to glow. Suddenly, gravity around you is shifted to a neutral position, and you are going to float midair. As that happens, you're going to hear Lord Duckingham's heavy weight splash into the water. And as soon as he does, he's going to like thrash around wildly, and you're going to see parts of him begin to melt. However, the duck goose is going to float downwards towards the water and like fly, and then like land and scoot his little legs underneath the water. And as you do, as you are hovering above the water, the duck goose is going to come directly beneath you and say, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing? You jerk?"
I had a feeling the duck was in
So
charge.
you said he landed down in the water.
You know how
right?
expensive simulacrums are?
I think it wasn't a very good
Yes,
one.
the duck did. As did Lord Duckingham.
Okay. What in the seven hells are you talking about? Were you harassing women with some sort of homunculus?
He says, "You don't know what a simulacrum is?"
I do know, right?
Yeah, you know what a simulacrum is. Although you've never seen one that wasn't a copy of the person who was making it. He says, "What, you never seen a duck wizard before?"
No. Forgive my ignorance, but I have not.
He says, well, I'm Drake."
Very nice to meet you, Drake. Now answer my question, why would a duck wizard be using a simulacrum and incredible magical talent to lift women's skirts?
He says, "How about you get and he's going to open his mouth and quack out a devastating spell.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, that was my last shot at diplomacy here. So
Kill the duck!
He is going to quack out a teleport spell, and him and his simulacrum will vanish.
Crap, he's at my
Wow.
level, Doc.
Yes.
So glad Julian got this one.
So glad.
all right, well, lucky him then, I guess, because I was going to kill him.
All right. Prongor is going to sputter up to the surface of the water. He says, "Master, did you win?"
Prongor, are you all right? Are you going to be able to make it out of there?
On the far shoreline, you're going to hear as the duck and the simulacrum are about maybe 400 feet away on the shore. And the duck is going to like waddle quickly away from you.
Okay, Isaac's going to shout out, Prongor, get back into the city somehow. I'll run and meet up with you.
All right, it appears as though the villains are making a dastardly escape up the cliffside.
They are down on like the same level as the river beneath me, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Do you pursue the duck?
How would I get over there? I'm levitating and holding onto a bridge.
Well, you can just levitate horizontally across the water until you reach the shoreline.
Yeah, that's true.
Prongor is going to swim towards the opposite shore, which is much closer.
I'm going to kick off from my position towards where Prongor is coming up out of the water. I don't want him isolated from me right now.
So you do not pursue them.
No.
All right. And we will go ahead and call it there, noble heroes. a heroic.
I don't want anything left to do with that duck.
But aren't you always gonna wonder, like, what was the duck's story?
All right. Maybe we'll find out someday soon. We'll go ahead and end the session there. Thank you very much, Noble Heroes. For the duck, like and subscribe, please. That's the only way it can come back. There's enough likes and subscribes on this video. Please do try this at home, and we will see you guys later.